Good morning, everyone. And thank you for bearing with us while we had a late start. My name's Alexandra Robinson. I'm the Gender-Based Violence Technical Advisor here with UNFPA and very happy to be here this morning and hosting our third TFGBV Global Symposium in partnership with the Association for Progressive Communications and Global Affairs Canada. What began as a safe space for carving out a community to start thinking and talking about what TFGBV is 3 years ago, we're now hosting the first hybrid symposium. All our symposiums have been online. And this symposium, we're gathering under the theme Intersectional Challenges and Collective Action in a Shifting Digital Age. I have the great honor and privilege to introduce Ms. Diene Keita, who is not only an Assistant Secretary General, but is our UNFPA Deputy Executive Director of Programs and one of our most powerful advocates for ending violence against women and girls. Thank you, Diene. I'll pass to you to open.
Good morning, everyone, and good day for those online. I don't know where you are and how far you are. Welcome to all of you, esteemed speakers. You are all very, very important person for us, very VIPs to us, because this is an important 2 days for us. So speaker, partners, participant, friends, it is my immense pleasure to welcome you to the Third Global Symposium on Technology-Facilitated Gender-Based Violence, hosted by UNFPA in partnership with Global Affairs Canada and the Association for Progressive Communication, with the support from 32 member advisory group comprising experts, civil society, government, tech, and UN partners. I am very honored to be joined by Barbara Curran, the Director General for Social and Economic Development at Global Affairs Canada, who is online, and Paula Martins, Global Policy Lead at the Association for Progressive Communication, in opening this important event. Nice to see you, Paula. This year's symposium is being held in the lead up to the 69th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, CSW 69, and the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. As we celebrate decades of progress in advancing women's rights, we also recognize that this is the time when women and girls in all their diversity are increasingly experiencing harm in digital spaces amidst a maelstrom of anti-gender discourse in many parts of the world. Nearly 4 in 10 women on the internet have been personally affected by violence online, and almost 9 in 10 women have witnessed online violence against another woman. This landscape is set to worsen in the years ahead as new technology creates both opportunities and risks. The conversations that we'll have over the coming 2 days will enable us to remain strategic, united, and determined in ensuring that we not only address the immediate needs, but also strengthen our collective resolve to protect and uplift those most at risk online and offline. This symposium is not just about high-level policy, program, or research. It is about the adolescent girl whose intimate images were shared without her consent. It is about the woman whose husband tracks her every movement using digital surveillance tools. And it is also about the LGBTQI+ group, relentlessly targeted with hate speech online for the communities they support. These acts need to be recognized for what they are: violence. Every conversation, Every initiative and every action taken across this forum is and always will be for individuals affected by TFGBV in all their diversities. Dear friends, the Global Symposium is part of a larger ecosystem of advocacy and movement building across groups and stakeholders groups, many of whom have been working in this space for decades. Our aim is to build bridges between digital rights, feminist and GBV movement, technologists and regulators to develop a common language, common concern, and common solutions. Our shared movement is advanced by the effort of each of you in this room and online. And I would like to particularly express our sincere gratitude to the Government of Canada for their unwavering support and dedication to make this vision a reality, including through the Making All Space Safe global program. I would like also to acknowledge the work of the Association for Progressive Communication and their networks of CSOs, which have led the foundation for much of the community's effort in ending TFGBV. Thank you. Indeed, amid shrinking space for civil society, the work of APC and its network of CSOs are more important than ever. UNFPA is proud to be a part of UN system-wide effort to support CSOs, including through the Interagency Initiative to advance the UN-wide funding framework for women's organizations and civil society organizations. We know that partnership with local and grassroots organizations are critical to this unified UN funding framework, which seeks to strengthen and better resource the organizations working in communities to fight for gender equality and against GBV. With this, let me thank you all for joining us in person and online. Time is a precious resource, and I honor the commitment you've made to be present in this exchange. Over the next 2 days, I would encourage us to test assumptions, listen to the diverse wisdom of those joining from around the world, and forge clear pathways for collective action to end gender-based violence in all its forms. I wish us all a productive exchange and look forward to the outcome of the deliberation today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diene, and for truly inspiring us at a time when I think we need it most. Barbara Curran, I will now turn to you, the Director General for the Social and Economic Development Bureau for Global Affairs Canada. Thank you for being with us online today.
Thanks, Alex. I guess I get to be part of the hybrid elements of the program, which is fantastic. I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from Ottawa, the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. And although we are at the very beginning of the day, I want to offer early and heartfelt congratulations to the UNFPA team for organizing the third symposium on technology-facilitated gender-based violence. Canada is really honored to co-host the symposium with UNFPA and the Association of Progressive Communications. So if I can add my words of welcome, I'll make it a warm welcome from cold Ottawa to all the panelists and participants connecting from all over the world and of course in the room. I would say I would like to also add my words to as a co-host to thank all the members of the advisory group, the numerous individuals who contributed their time and thoughtful contributions that helped shape the agenda. Eliminating sexual and gender-based violence, including TFGBV, is critical, and it's critical to our efforts in the advancement of gender equality. Efforts that include, but are not limited to, promoting and protecting the human rights of women and girls in all their diversity, to access and use digital technologies without being targeted by violence and abuse. And very kind, Diene, to mention our contribution to UNFPA. I would like to say it's really our privilege to contribute to Making All Spaces Safe program, which really does seek to address critical gaps in preventing and responding to TFGBV. As some of you may be aware, because I believe this is a group that's been engaged on these matters of importance for some time, this particular initiative contributes to building that critical collective knowledge, breaking silos, and supporting strategies to address the issue. And the Global Symposium is an important activity benefiting from this convening role, this critical convening role, as it brings together, as already noted earlier, from various sectors, including civil society organizations, women's organizations, tech companies, government agencies, to foster and share the best practices, which are absolutely required for the now and for the go forward. This year's symposium, as mentioned already, coincides with the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action. So for the past 30 years, the international community has worked together to promote gender equality, to safeguard women's universal human rights, and to fulfill the promise of this historic declaration. In the upcoming CSW 69, we will have the opportunity to reflect on how women's and girls' lives have been changed since the Beijing Declaration, what still needs to be addressed as we approach the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, how the world has evolved, what are the new or resurfaced challenges affecting women's and girls' rights now and for the future. It almost seems like an understatement, but certainly digital technologies have transformed our world, and some also perpetuate many forms of gender-based violence that have enduring impacts on many, including, and maybe most importantly, survivors. Our attention needs to focus on practical solutions, while also the daunting challenge of understanding the complexities which are not isolated from broader global shifts, including anti-gender and anti-rights sentiments. The Global Symposium gives us this opportunity. In a rapidly changing world, I didn't think it could get more rapid, but it seems to be the case. We are forced to adapt, think differently about how we protect women and girls from TFGBV. How to respond when it occurs, and how to support survivors. The symposium's theme, which reflects the great thinking and the directionality and the visioning of this event, is really reflective of the landscape, being intersectional challenges and collective action in a shifting digital age. So over the next 2 days, there will be an opportunity to explore how TFGBV is deeply intertwined with the broader global shifts, and a very important discussion of cross-sector strategies that have the potential to strengthen TFGBV programming globally. I'm confident that this week's presentations and discussions will inform the work ahead, thanks to your shared knowledge and expertise, and above all, thanks to our collective shared commitment to make the world a safer and better place. Heartfelt, successful wishes for the symposium, and thank you for allowing us to have this privileged role. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. And, I think your thoughts about working creatively, working collaboratively is exactly what we're going to do over the next couple of days. So thank you for setting the stage for us. I would now like to turn finally to Paula Martins, who's our Global Policy Lead at Association for Progressive Communications. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning. Good morning. I would like to, on behalf of the Association for Progressive Communications, APC, to welcome all of you here in New York and all of you joining us online to this symposium. We are grateful for your presence, and we are also grateful to UNFPA and Global Affairs Canada for Canada for this partnership and the opportunity to create this space for reflection, for strategic thinking. I also want to thank the group, the team that put this symposium together, the amazing team that put this symposium together, and the advisory group that supported us. APC has been a consistent actor in the efforts for women's rights and women's participation online ever since its foundation in 1990, with special early momentum leading up to the 1995 UN World Conference on Women. Since then, APC has evolved from facilitating capacity building spaces and policy advocacy conversations in the intersections of gender and ICTs, to developing comprehensive frameworks for addressing technology-related gender issues, including the gender evaluation methodology for ICTs, the framework for developing gender-responsive cybersecurity policies, and pioneering knowledge-building work on TFGBV through Gender IT, the Take Back the Tech initiative, and the Feminist Internet Research Network, FERN. APC also approaches the intersection of gender and ICTs throughout its other areas, the strategic areas of work on rights, environmental justice, digital inclusion, and internet governance. In 2013, we as a movement achieved the first recognition of online gender-based violence, this is how it was called at the time, by adding a mention to ICTs into a global policy document about violence against women. And this was possible, of course, because of the visibility and the traction that technology-related violence was gaining at the time. But mainly it was due to the restless activism of our movements and organizations. We then embarked on a trajectory of achieving growing recognition of online gender-based violence in international policy documents. In 2018, advocates working against OGBV claimed a milestone victory with the recognition through a dedicated Human Rights Council resolution on OGBV that was entitled Accelerating Efforts to Eliminate Violence Against Women and Girls, Preventing and Responding to Violence Against Women and Girls in Digital Contexts. CSW 67 was another milestone, for it was the first session that was really dedicated to looking at the relationship between technology and gender. And of course, we hope that the Beijing +30 review will become a new milestone. Over the years, references to online gender-based violence, now more and more referred to as technology-facilitated gender-based violence, and its impact have reached the internet governance spaces, human rights spaces, and women's rights fora and documents. TFGBV and its many variations and manifestations is now recognized as a continuum of other forms of gender-based violence. For APC, it is important to ensure that when speaking about TFGBV, the conversation is not only centered on women and girls, but rather that we expand the analysis and evaluate the differentiated gendered impact of TFGBV on the lives of women and girls and people of diverse genders and sexualities, with attention to women human rights defenders. And although we celebrate these milestones, we know that the moment now is a moment of backlash. We know that this is a time of expanding influence of anti-rights movements to often aligned with authoritarian governments and unethical business models. So the space that we co-create today and tomorrow is a space for learning from the work carried out this far, but also a space for preparing for the many challenges to come. So once again, we welcome you all and wish we have rich, meaningful, and proactive discussions together these upcoming days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula, and for outlining the tremendous amount of work that APC have been doing over the decades on this issue, and very much acknowledge that the work that UNFPA and other partners have taken up is building on that grassroots work that's been going on. I would like to thank all of our opening speakers. Thank you, Diene, Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Paula, for being with us this morning. It's a great honor and privilege to have such incredible speakers open today. So thank you very much. Before we go into the first session of the symposium, I wanted to let everyone know that Viva Activa is a free, anonymous and confidential helpline that offers emotional and psychological support to journalists, activists and internet users. If any time you feel overwhelmed with the contents of the symposium, please do feel free to access those resources or take a break outside at any time. There is a room next door which is fairly quiet and you can avail yourselves of those facilities.